Bienvenue à notre segment d'émission Law, Politics and Society. Non pas moi, c'est Max Osinal. Merci d'être quitté nous entrer la CAO aujourd'hui. Miami Gardens, c'est la CAO plus que 110 000 personnes qui habitent là-dedans. 79% là-dedans, c'est noir. Et en pilote agglomération de groupes qui habitent là-dedans, c'est Payol qui a à peu près 16%. Et puis Anglo qui a 4%. Mais une communauté très forte d'Haïtiens qui vivent là-dedans. Mais malheureusement, en tant que communauté, nous pas vraiment participé en dedans Miami Gardens. Je dis à la les magistrats ville là pour venir parler nous de qui opportunité qui gagne en même temps pour nous reconnaître qui challenge qui gagne dans la ville Miami Gardens. Alors avec moi c'est maître André Pierre, un avocat de renommée, plus que 18 ans d'expérience et avec fierté pour me partager bureau ça.
Thank you, Maxo. Pleasure to be on the show. Another episode of Law, Politics and Society. We want to say thank you to the viewers for allowing us to enter your home, to give badly needed information to you, your family, and your community. Pleasure to be on the show. I mean, you talk about Miami Gardens, which is one of the greatest city in Miami-Dade County, one of 34, the largest black city in the state of Florida. But there's one thing I have to go back. The mayor may not like that, but Mayor Reagan, he made a comment right after Hurricane Katrina. He called New Orleans the chocolate city.
Yeah.
Miami Gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely Miami Gardens.
Definitely Miami Gardens.
Yeah.
Well, as you just mentioned, Miami Gardens was incorporated in 2003. A beautiful, beautiful city, home of the Miami Dolphins. And now it's been in the care of the mayor of Oliver Gilbert. So he's here to talk to us not only about the city of Miami Gardens, but some of the accomplishments that have how the city have flourished under his leadership. And the viewers on Facebook, just stay tuned. Mayor, welcome to the show. Welcome to Law, Politics, and Society, and thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be part of this show.
Well, no, thank you for having me. And you won't ever tell people, when I first became mayor, you were one of the first people I called because when you were mayor at North Miami, the way you were able to work with the community, work with the business community, and try to move the city forward, is definitely something that I watched and I learned from. And you don't get enough credit, I think, for that. Because people think it's easy.
Yeah.
People think that getting businesses to come and open up and creating jobs. Everybody thinks it's easy, and everybody wants to be there for the ribbon cutting. But they don't understand exactly how you use every bit of your charm, every bit of your intellect, every bit of your energy in an effort to actually build something that wasn't there before. And so I guess it's our job to make it look easy.
Right. Well, the mayor's background, he's a lawyer. He was a prosecutor for a number of years at the state attorney's office in Broward County. Sometimes, people say the why in the state attorney's office. Well, we need people like Mayor Oliver Gilbert to be in that office because he makes the decision on whether to prosecute or not. He makes the decision whether he's going to file charges or not, which is very important because if you don't have those folks in those positions to do so, then what you have is a one-sided system. So he works at that office. He was with Miami Gardens, got elected
City council.
At the city council. And after the former mayor was turned out, then he was elected by the people of Miami Gardens to become their mayor.
Yes.
And he's been the mayor of that city for 4 years.
Since 2012, yes.
Since
It went by like
2012.
that, right?
I know, just like that. And now there's an election coming up in December.
December 6th.
December 6, 2016. And the mayor is up for re-election.
Mayor, I was reading your bio and I realized that you have been in Miami since the day you were born.
Yes.
Went to school in Miami, went to FSU, work in Miami.
Wait, I went to FAMU.
FAMU.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, okay.
Yes, all the rattlers in the house. I'm a rattler. Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. But you're right. All of my homes have always been here. The home that I live in now, I actually, it's a little house in the northern part of Miami Gardens that I purchased from my parents. I lived there with them until I was 10 years old. And so even when I went to law school at UM, I would take the 27 to the Metro Rail and catch the Metro Rail all the way around to the law school. And at night I'd catch it back, and my dad would meet me at the Martin Luther King station and pick me up every night and ask me what I learned in law school that day. And so even when I was in law school in University of Miami, I was living in Miami Gardens. So it's always been my home.
How did that prepare you to face the challenges that Miami Gardens have been facing for the past 10 years?
Well, you know what, it's interesting because the purpose of him, and I later realized this, the purpose of him asking me what I learned was he wanted me to take what I was learning in Coral Gables at UM and always bring it back home. And everything I've done, from being a legislative aide to State Representative Dorothy Bendross Mendengal, to writing policy for Janet Reno, to being a prosecutor, to practicing municipal law as a litigator, I take all of those experiences and I add them with the fact that I grew up in Miami Gardens. I played on the parks, I went to the high school, I went to elementary school, middle school. I shop there. My friends are there. My family's there. I take all of the information and experience I've gathered, and I overlay it with who I know us to be and what we want to be as a community, and I try to find ways to make that happen. And so understanding what the goals are. We want more businesses. We want to be able to spend money there. We want to be able to work there. We want to be able to play there. We want a safe community. How do we get these things done? And how do we answer the questions in ways that people haven't answered them previously? Because I don't want to do is I don't want to keep trying the same things and failing. It occurred to me that in our community, we're okay with answering the same question the same way, even if the answer isn't what we want. So we get caught up in answering what I call generational questions with situational answers.
Yeah.
And we get surprised when nothing really changes. So what I mean to be is actually a change agent. I actually change the questions that they ask after me. Well, this is what the problem was. It's different now. There'll always be problems in government. There'll always be problems in communities.
That's right.
How you deal with them, and whether you're dealing with the same problem for 20, 30, 40 years, as you see in some of the traditional black neighborhoods in South Florida, is what we really need to address.
Okay. Mayor, there's something that you did that I was unable to do, and a lot of city mayors have not been able to do, is to sue those banks.
Yes.
That actually making loans to people that they cannot afford with interest rate, that they should be indicted for. And you were able to do that in 2014. I mean, it's a very unpopular decision and action to be taken by a mayor. I mean, to be suing people with a lot of money. I mean, they come after you.
They usually do, and it's interesting because that case now we're about to file. We're filing an amicus brief that's going to be before the Supreme Court. That case is going to the Supreme Court. And our theory was this. If you were trying to get a mortgage in Miami Gardens, they gave you a mortgage that was predestined to fail. It had rates that would jump. Even if you had the same credit as someone who was trying to get the mortgage on a similar piece of property somewhere else. And so the effect of all of those mortgages failing was that it created properties, dilapidated properties. It increased crime. It added to our code enforcement situation. And it took away from our ability to provide services to our residents. So what we said was, you did this, and there's no rational reason for you to have taken this decision, so we're going to sue you. So each individual person might not be able to sue you, but our collective will as a city, we can sue you. And we went out and we got national lawyers, and we prosecuted a lawsuit. And so that case has transitioned to the courts. And the question about whether you can sue a bank in this situation is an open question. We think you can, but ultimately it's something that's going to be decided by the United States Supreme Court.
Mayor, thank you so much for giving you that much information about the lawsuit. You are watching Law, Politics, and Society. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Sinal Consulting Group, c'est un consultant Business Center pour business plan, incorporation, 501c3 for non-profit, income tax préparation. Sinal Consulting Group, c'est la référence. 305 308 82 29. Office là offre tout, life insurance, money management et investment. Relais jodi pour une consultation gratuite 305
308 82 29.
Si vous avez besoin d'un avocat pour immigration, cas criminel, l'État et fédéral, relais avocat dans le bureau André Pierre dans 305 398 96 46. Pour accident machine, dérangement dans le travail, glisser et tomber, relais avocat André Pierre dans 305 398 96 46. Ou ka gen droit jusqu'à $10 000 dans bénéfice. C'est seul un avocat qui a fait rejoindre l'argent. Nous ici là pour servir. Si vous pas touché, nous pas touché. Ou pas pral doué frais avocat avec dépenses. Relais avocat André Pierre dans 305 398 96 46 ou soit aller dans 550 Northeast 124e rue dans North Miami.
Merci d'être été avec nous. Nous rappelons regarder Law, Politics and Society. Jeudi, on a parlé de Miami Gardens, troisième ville qui est plus grande dans le comté de Miami-Dade County après Miami et Hialeah. So, nous avons fierté pour nous avec nous, magistrat ville là avec nous jeudi pour nous parler de défis que lui levé depuis tantôt 4 ans que c'est lui-même qui magistrat à l'autre bois. I know you were talking about the bank.
Yeah, Mayor.
Well, what I was saying was I got invited, I guess, a couple of weeks back now, maybe 3 or 4 weeks back, to speak to go up to Philadelphia to speak to the Philadelphia, I think the Atlanta, and I think the San Francisco branches and presidents of the Federal Reserve, as well as bankers and financiers from around the country. And they called, they invited, they flew me up. The purpose of it was to talk about innovative things that we're doing in Miami Gardens, innovative communities, and talk about the amount of investment, the amount of new investment that's happening in the city. And they wanted to know what exactly we were doing. And I talked to them about the idea that you can invest in people and you can invest in places, and you can sometimes do things that do both. So a good example of that was our general obligation bond.
$60 million.
$60 million. But $60 million to renovate parks and to provide law enforcement security. So now in our parks, we're trying to develop a park system that will have science, technology, engineering, mathematics building. We'll have a recording studio and a television production area that has a culinary institute where we can teach the culinary arts, and then has an alternative building that allows for gymnastics and boxing and dance, things like that. Also, in that whole system, we have a senior center, so that we can centralize all of our efforts for our seniors on one nice campus. But it also provides for cameras, not red light cameras, but cameras that keep you safe, law enforcement cameras, that the police will actually be watching in our real-time crime center, and Shot Spotter, so that if a gun is fired, we can, expansion of it, so that we can close in on where it's fired from almost instantly, and also license plate readers. So once you do something wrong and we have a tag number, we can actually find you if you're traveling on thoroughfares through the city. And so I talked to them about that. I talked to them about attacking crime through land use, because a lot of times we would think that people didn't develop businesses in our cities, in our communities, because they just didn't like us because we were black. Well, you didn't get businesses because all of the places you would logically have a business was zoned residential.
Right.
So how about we change that zoning? How about we change that zoning and we add some density and we add some more uses and we allow things to develop? And what you've seen now we have $100 million in new development in the city of Miami Gardens. And so when I talked to them about that, it made sense, but it's a very basic thing. Use all of your tools to attack the problems you want to solve. So if you want to attack crime, well, then attack it on the parks by giving kids who might go into crime other outlets.
That's right.
Attack it on the streets by having cameras and license plate readers. And then attack it through your personnel by hiring local kids who grew up in Miami Gardens to become police officers. And so I think we're on our 3rd or 4th police academy class now, because the policy I put in place was, hey, you know what? We're going to try to hire as many residents to be police officers. First, they're familiar with the community. They're familiar with the community, they have relationships, people will come to them. Second, if they're living in Miami Gardens when they're not at work and they have their take-home vehicles, their vehicles are parked on your streets. People are a lot less likely to commit a crime if the police car is parked there. So it's using everything that you have to try to attack the problem that you want to solve.
Mayor, I can tell that you named a lot of items that make sense to tackle an issue that is perceptive or real, which is crime in Miami Gardens.
Yep.
Are there anything else that you're doing as a mayor to make sure that that perception is changed, that Miami Gardens is a place that there's a lot of crime?
Aggressive wholesaling of Miami Gardens. One of the things that I talk about
And
is
he's right, Mayor. The problem is the perception.
it's the perception.
You know, and sometimes, you know, I don't know, maybe, you know, there's one, I don't necessarily care about Donald Trump, but sometimes he said the media, you know, does its own thing, and, you know, that media that is out there attacking Miami Gardens need to be dealt with.
Listen, it needs to be, and I started doing something that you would have thought that more people would do. I started going and asking to meet with the Miami Herald editorial board. I want to meet with you all and talk to you about Miami Gardens. And when I went there, I talked to them about, first of all the times they said something happened in Miami Gardens and it didn't happen in Miami Gardens. But then talked about how if you show something exclusively, then people will rightfully think that's the only thing that happens there. So the problem isn't just that there's crime all over South Florida, but if you let news stations tell it, there is no crime on Miami Beach. So because you don't show crime on Miami Beach, then people think that crime only happens in Miami Gardens and Liberty City and Opelika and North Miami and all these other places in the city of Miami. But you wouldn't think that it happens. And I'm not telling you to kill the golden cow. We need people to come to Miami Beach because a lot of our residents work there. What I'm saying is that you can't only show bad things about Miami Gardens. So we undertook our efforts to actually push out more content. And so we started doing that, but then we also started working with them and working with other media outlets to tell our story better. And then when I recruit businesses, when I sit down with them and I'm selling them on Miami Gardens, look, we have Topgolf coming to Miami Gardens. Everybody in South Florida wanted Topgolf.
Yep.
We have Topgolf coming. My thing was first, I'll be as fast as you are. If you can build it up, we can get somebody inspected. That's the first thing. I'll be cheaper than anybody else too. Our permit fees will be at the very least competitive with anyone else. But second, I went to them with something that all business people understand. Bottom line, you know, when you hear stuff like, and you hear people call Miami Gardens an inner city, it's not an inner city. You have the highest concentration of black homeowners and professional degrees in Florida live in Miami Gardens. Have a home ownership rate of around 70%.
That's high.
Yeah, so it's one of these things where, you know, the only indication we have, or the only commonality we have with the inner city is that we're black.
Yeah.
So my point is, I pointed out to them where all of our residents spend money at and how much they spend. Because if you start tracking credit cards, you'll see that we're spending all type of money in Aventura and Pembroke Pines and Miami. We spend tons of money.
There's not much.
So yeah, let me show you how you can make money here. And we took that to Topgolf, and then we took it to the people who are doing the Burlington and Marshalls and TJ Maxx and the restaurants that are coming. We took it to all of those places. We took it to the brewery, the microbrewery that's coming to Miami Gardens now. That ability.
Mayor, we'll take another break, but there's something that you just did in August where the residents voted for those areas, which is very important. Another thing that you were up front, I mean, you were the face of that campaign. We're going to get into that, but let's take a quick break. You are watching Law, Politics, and Society.
Si vous avez besoin d'un avocat pour immigration, cas criminel, l'État et fédéral, relais avocat yo dans bureau André Pierre dans 305 398 96 46. Pour accident machine, dérangement dans travail, glisser et tomber, relais avocat André Pierre dans 305 398 96 46. Ou ka gen droit jusqu'à $10,000 dans bénéfice. C'est seul un avocat qui ka faire joindre l'argent. Nous ici là pour servir. Si ou pas touché, nous pas touché. Ou pas pral doué frais avocat avec dépenses yo. Relais avocat André Pierre dans 305 398 96 46 ou soit aller dans 550 Northeast 124e rue dans North Miami.
Hi, this is Dr. Barbanel. I wanted to discuss what you should do after you've been involved in an accident. It's very important to seek medical attention immediately after an accident so you could properly diagnose your condition. There could be severe injuries that you may not realize that are going on, and we're very experienced in dealing with that here in my office.
After my accident, I was experiencing very bad neck and back pain. I came to see Dr. Barbanel and his staff, and they helped me have a speedy recovery.
You could expect a very knowledgeable staff and doctors that are going to assist you with all your accident needs.
El doctor Barbanel es uno de los mejores doctores que hay en esta oficina. Llevo años aquí trabajando y me siento muy cómoda. Los pacientes cada vez que se van siempre se van felices y los podemos ayudar en español, en criollo y en inglés. Hablamos 3 idiomas.
Dr. Davin, c'est un bon docteur, un bon chiropracteur. Il a une expérience depuis la traité patient qui fait accident machine et puis accident dans le travail et tout. Et puis, il est toujours des blagues, même le patient a une douleur à ça pour le patient capable. Et puis, nous disponibles en anglais, français et puis créole.
If you've been injured in an accident, we have offices throughout the South Florida region, including Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. Call me, Dr. Davin Barbanel, directly at 305-934-8444 for all your accident and chiropractic needs.
Merci d'être été avec nous. Nous allons regarder Law, Politics and Society. Non pas moi, c'est Max Sinal. Et je dis à nous un plaisir pour nous recevoir magistrat de la ville de Miami Gardens qui est là pour parler nous la vérité et rien que la vérité.
Exactement. Mayor, in August, you did something that not many people have been able to do with Miami Gardens, is pretty much taking control of your own destiny. What happened?
When we were created as a city back in 2003, the city had no jurisdiction or control over Dolphin Stadium or the area around Dolphin Stadium. And one of the things that I said...
Which is Hard Rock Stadium.
Hard Rock Stadium now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Hard Rock Stadium. So one of the things I said was that we were going to change that, and people didn't necessarily think it could be done. And quite frankly, the county was hesitant, and the Dolphins were hesitant, because going back before we became a city, there was a lot of bad blood between the residents there and who didn't want the stadium built initially 25 years ago. And then back then, Joe Robbie. And so what I said was, well, first of all, I have a different perspective. I think that the beach has a beach. We have a stadium. We need to maximize the use of the stadium. We need more things happening at the stadium so we can incentivize development around the stadium, hotels, restaurants, things that people can use when they come to the stadium for more than just football games. So I had a different perspective from a business perspective. But then I had a conviction that you can't have something in a city and just decide that you don't want to give the people in the city any say over it. And I thought that it was complete nonsense that it had lasted that long. And so I started the conversations, and people were hesitant. And so then we sued the county. And they were still hesitant. And then when you sue a county, when a city sues a county, the statute requires that you have this joint meeting between the city council and the county commission. And the county attorney's office took lead for the commission, and they quickly found out that not only were we serious, but that we had a pretty good argument and that we wouldn't go away. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to come up with a compromise position. It wasn't perfect, but it gives us joint jurisdiction, but actually most of the say for Dolphin area, Hard Rock Stadium now. Mm-hmm. And it's important because now we can process the building permits and stuff like that. But it's also important because now we can have a uniform development plan for that area. Because from my perspective, we incorporated the city of Miami Gardens out of neighborhoods: Bunch Park, Rolling Oaks, Crestview, Scott Lake, Andover, Parkview, Parkway, the Bajas, Carroll City, all of these areas, Lejeune Gardens, all of these areas, and they were discrete neighborhoods. There was no real central downtown district or mm-hmm. commercial and retail area where you can. And that's what allows you to decrease a tax burden off residents, because those areas, those businesses, and that use of land actually allows you at the same tax rate, but they're taxed at a higher value. And so that's why you see cities like Aventura able to have low tax rates because they have so much commercial property that's taxed at such a high value.
Which we don't have.
We need to do that.
Mayor, I just, one other thing. Mayor, something happened at the county that never happened before. You were elected chair of the MPO. No mayor, since the county was, put together, no mayor has ever been the chair of the MPO.
It was vice chair, and no mayor has been vice chair of the MPO, and now they followed me with Francis Suarez, and I don't think they want either one of us to come back as vice chair again. So, but one of the things that not a lot of people know about the MPO, but I remember watching you on the MPO and advocating for transportation issues that affect our communities. Because what the MPO does is it's kind of the clearinghouse for transportation throughout the entire county. Well, what happens is other areas have been able to use transportation as a way to drive economic development. Because where you have mass transit lines, we know that history tells us there'll be economic development along there. We needed to be able to do that in our communities, but no one was having that conversation before, like Mayor Pierre started having that conversation, like, wait, hold on. How are we doing this in my city? So how are we doing this in my city? Because ultimately, we need to have the same type, we need to provide the same type of services to our residents. Right. Our residents deserve the same type of amenities. So from our perspective, if we're going to be able to use mass transit as an economic development driver, it shouldn't just be, going east and west. It shouldn't just be in downtown. It should also be in Miami Gardens and North Miami. It should be in North Dade. It should be the east, the northeastern part of the county. And so those conversations weren't being had in that way until we start having it. And so now you see the evolution. That's why you have the SMART plan now that has all the corridors included, because we're just like, nah, we're not just gonna do one. We ain't gonna do one, not just one, because our residents deserve it also.
Mayor, Miami Gardens is home to 79% of African Americans, and there's a large portion of Haitians and Jamaicans living in Miami Gardens now. Have the city implemented any programs for these people who are part of the 79% who are not part of the 75% to feel like they are home?
Well, we have a Caribbean Affairs Committee that actually reports to the council, and so we support a number of events. The person who actually spearheads most of that stuff is Councilman Eric Borregadaru. What I would love for us to do is find a way to get Carnival back. We're not the impediment anymore. Now the impediment is the fact that the NFL schedules things at the stadium on that weekend. How I see our diversity from a Caribbean perspective was my family was Bahamian from the Harbor Island, is that we need to try to find a way to take advantage of our rich cultural diversity to drive tourism. So if you can come to Miami Gardens and it's black and it's not just African American, it's black, and you can have a Jamaican experience, whether it be entertainment experience or culinary experience. If you can do that with a Haitian experience, if you can do that with an African American experience, if you can do that with a Bahamian experience, we need to find a way to bring people in the city. So it's definitely something that we look at on a continuous basis, because we have to find a way to distinguish ourselves from other places in South Florida. Because there's no major hotel, there's only one national chain restaurant in the city right now. That's why we've been so aggressive with this. But what will probably end up happening is we'll get some of that big stuff, but what will make us special is not the big stuff, but the unique stuff. And our uniqueness is that we have essentially every black person from everywhere in the Caribbean in Miami Gardens. This is what we have. If you want to, we got people from Dominica, we got people from Haiti, we got people from the Bahamas, we got people from Jamaica, Trinidad. It doesn't matter. We have Brazilians who are black. We have, and it's that blackness, it's that diversity that sometimes in our community in South Florida, it gets pitted against us. And what I said was, no, they're probably my cousin. They're probably my cousins, literally. This is the same ship. We're in this together, and how we build Miami Gardens and grow Miami Gardens and grow the blackness, the uniform blackness in South Florida is going to be something.
I don't know if you have more questions because time is of the essence. Your school visits, the reading program, the local youth enrichment program. I mean, just give us 30 seconds
School visits,
bites.
I visit every public school in Miami Gardens. Every year, every public school. I did 2 today. I was at Scott Lake Elementary and Rainbow Park Elementary today. I visit them because I want them to see and touch and talk to their mayor and realize that there's somebody who went to the same schools that they did, who lived in the same community, who went away to college, went to UM for law school, became a successful lawyer, and became mayor of his hometown. I want them to say, and I tell them, I am not special, that I am them. If I can do it, they can do it. That's the school business. The Cultural Express, we don't have a lot of the cultural amenities in Miami Gardens right now that we will in the future. So I saw my first ballet when I was like 42 or 41 or 42. I came back and said, that won't be the testimony for the kids in Miami Gardens. If a parent wants to take their kid to see some of these cultural experiences, you can come to Miami Gardens, you can sign up, you get on one of our trolleys, and we take you there for free. So they've done stuff at the Arts Center, they've done stuff at the museums, they've done ballets, they've done all type of stuff. And my thing is that we have to expose our kids to those things because they grow up not ever knowing them. They grow up with a very limited perspective. So they grow up with a limited local perspective, but we expect them to have a global view. It's not going to happen that way. And for the first time, I decided as a mayor that we were going to set aside the money every year to hire kids during the summer for summer jobs.
That's right.
And so we partnered with Rick Beasley and Mayor Jimenez, and they said they would match whatever. And so first they said, well, we'll match whatever you want. So we said $50,000, and I said, oh, hey, you'll match whatever? Well, okay then, $100,000. Yeah, because you got to be careful telling me you'll match it, because I'll find the money because I don't see a dollar, I see a kid. I see a kid off the street.
Mayor, I listened to you patiently, and it seems to me you have done a lot of things, and you have a lot of things to do. But to do that, they have to keep you for 4 more years, and there's an election coming on December 6th. Tell us about that, where you are, and what do you want our viewers to do for you to keep you in office?
We had an election back on August 30th, and a candidate was disqualified, and he sued. And what the Florida Supreme Court said was the statute that disqualified him was unconstitutional. We can't control that. They said our clerk did nothing wrong. So now we're paying for a new election. There's going to be an election on December 6th. And December 6th, what I tell people is about my election, it's the same thing I say about the presidency. An election is about understanding where you were, where you are, and what you want to be. And I would have you evaluate all the candidates on that. I'm the mayor of my hometown, and it's the highest privilege I've ever had in my life. So it's an extraordinary experience for me. And when you look at by any metric, and I think this is probably why I was endorsed by the Miami Herald and the Miami Times and AFSCME and the PBA, amazing, and the PBA,
right.
Because
PBA knows usually
by any metric, whether it be economic development, whether it be the things we've done with regard to youth, whether it be the efforts with the police department to bring in residents to be there, whether it be our plan for the bond, no matter what it is, by every metric we make progress. We get pigeonholed into the idea that progress ought to be like drive-through. You can drive through and order up a whole bag of success. That's not what it is. It's incremental. It's aggregated. It's taking those steps. And so what I'm trying to do is build a system that will exist when I'm not there, and that will allow the city to be going in the right direction, and not just in the right direction, at the right trajectory. Because you can be going in the right direction, but headed down. I want you going in the right direction and headed up.
Well said.
Wow, Mayor, thank you so much for coming to North Miami. I hope we treated you well in North Miami.
Only because your wife was here and she's nice, and she's your better half.
That's right, that's right. You're definitely right on that. Okay, Bernadette, thank you so much for being here. Like so.
Merci beaucoup d'être quitté nous entrer la CAO. C'est un plaisir pour nous recevoir Mayor of Miami Gardens. Nous allons rendez-vous semaine prochaine pour l'autre émission. Passons bonne nuit et bon week-end. Au revoir.